Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unboxed. So glad to have you with us. Today this is Church Stuff Sunday, and today we're going to be talking about the challenges of being a church employee, part 2. Stick around as we unbox those relationships. I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach. And welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unboxed. I'm your host, Dr. Robert Davis. So glad that you've chose to join us. Before we get started, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. And then also you can hit our notification button and you can know all the things that are going on with Unboxed. Check out our website and you can find different ways to support and to partner with Unboxed. There's also a list of links in the description on our various other platforms. So make sure that you're following us and keeping up on all the exciting things that are going on with Unboxed. Now, you know that for the last several days, we have been talking about building the Black family. It's a springboard off of the book, Seasoned with Grace, God's Recipe for Healthy Family Communication. We're talking about the Black family. We're going to put that on pause today as we talk about Church Stuff Sundays. And we're so glad to have back with us today a friend of the show. I'm referring to none other than Mr. Damon Mace. Let's bring Mr. Mace on. Hey, Mr. Mace, man, welcome on back again. So good to have you today.
All right. Glad to be here. Glad to be here again. What's going on?
Oh, nothing much, man. We just wanted to talk with you a little bit more because you help us to bridge a beautiful gap between not just workplace relationships, but also church relationships. One of the things that being an employee of the church, and kind of correct me if I'm wrong here, one of the things about being an employee of the church is that you not only are an employee, but you're also a part of a church family. So there's those unique dynamics. You're part of the worship experience. You're part of the fellowship and being a part of the ministry and the Christian experience. But then also you have that dynamic of being, in fact, paid by and working for the church. And so I think that is a unique combination that I want to explore a little bit more. Matter of fact, tell us a little bit, for those who are just catching us for the first time, give us a quick blurb about what you do. And then there may be some folk who want to get in touch with you. Tell them also how they can get in touch with you. Go ahead.
All right, that's fine. Ways you can get in touch with me is you can go to my Instagram, which is Moments by Mace. Moments by Mace. I've combined Moments by Mace with Clear Choice Solutions Group. So everything is kind of tied into Moments by Mace. That's where a lot of traffic goes. So instead of giving two different Instagrams, everybody can just go there. Also, 202-489-4961. Again, that's 202-489-4961. I do travel. I am in the DC metropolitan area, but I do travel as well. So just a little bit about what I do, just since we're talking about the church area. One of the areas that I do specialize in with the church area is just audio visual support, everything from providing quality sound to also installation, consulting, and training.
Okay, awesome. We're so glad to have Leaky here with us. Welcome to the show, and everyone else who is viewing as well. So the last time that you were here, Damon, we talked about your role and the unique relationship that your position requires you to work with. You have a lot of folk that you have to kind of navigate through, the minister of music, the various musicians. Then you also have the pastor, the pastoral staff, everyone else that's on the pulpit. And then behind the scenes, you have the various ministry leaders who need some specific things from the audio video. So you are interacting with an awful lot of people. But would I be accurate in saying that the two closest relationships that you have would be the church pastor as well as the minister of music? Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay, wonderful. And the last time that we were here, we talked about how those relationships, like in any workplace, require communication. And I was really impressed with, the system that you set up to communicate what is needed and to understand what your team needs. And I want to encourage folk, if you're looking for someone to do an install or to do any type of project relative to audio video, to make sure that you check out Damon Mace. But then there are times, unfortunately, where there is a breakdown in communication. There are times when signals get crossed. And one of the things that happens is that, and this is not just in church relationships, but in all relationships, when the tension, the anxiety, the stress begin to rise, it is natural as human beings for us to try to bring someone else into the relationship in order to kind of manage that tension, that anxiety. And so I want to explore that a little bit. Again, when you are working with a minister of music or the head musician or whatever, the title may be, and those situations arise where, the communication may seem to break down, not pointing fingers, this just happens in life. Tell me a little bit about who the minister of music will typically go to and how they will approach trying to bring others in to manage the stress that might be going on in the relationship. How does that usually look?
So when it comes, so there would be different layers. So
okay.
It would more than likely start with the music director, or as in short, the MD. That's the person that's in charge of the band. They typically, facilitate rehearsals. They interact with the choir. They interact with the musicians. They're in charge of that. Then there's that. Then there's their boss, which would be the minister of music. The minister of music is over the music department. So if an issue arises or an issue starts at the music director position and things can't be worked out, then the minister of music will then be brought in to maybe kind of, facilitate a meeting, to come between the two parties to find out what's going on and then to find out how best to solve the problem. Okay.
So, and this is, I want to share this before I ask you any additional questions. In an ideal, healthy relationship, two individuals should be able to manage whatever is going on, unless there's a skill set, something that somebody from the outside need to bring in. But typically, when there is conflict, stress, anxiety, or tension, the ideal solution is for the two individuals to figure out how they can manage it themselves. Unfortunately, it can become such a heavy load that ends up not happening. And so they end up bringing in other people. And one of the things I heard is that there are various layers. How does it usually look when a music director gets really worked up? They're believing that they're not, being heard, and they're feeling frustrated, annoyed, anxious, whatever term you want to use. They're starting to, have this elevation of emotional feelings. Typically, how do they go to the pastor, and how does that usually unfold?
Well, typically you have to kind of see if it's a legitimate problem, okay, or if it's just, someone just being arrogant, egotistical, or a diva, as we say in the business.
I remember that, the diva, yes.
Yeah, because, every people can create problems out of thin air. There's legitimately, I don't really like him because I just met him, or I'm not used to his style, so I'm just going to create an issue. Well, things don't sound right. Things don't sound right. So when you try to communicate one-on-one, like you said, you should be able to do it one-on-one, and then that communication is not working. Then because they have some seniority or they've been there for a while, then they'll just say, well, let me go to the pastor directly. There's like either an open door policy, or there's just some type of relationship with that person in the past, and they'll just go directly to the pastor and say, hey, I have an issue, or I'm trying to get such and such from the audio guy, and it's just not happening.
It has been my experience, and even my reading has indicated that when the relationship between two people become tense, and they feel the need to bring in, when one of them feels the need to bring in a third person, What it really is that I can't carry this tension by myself. I need you to help me to carry it. One of the things is that the information conveyed to the third person is often not accurate.
Correct.
One of the things that I want to ask, and I think this is a very important part of today's show, what strategies do you use personally to try to get that relationship back to the one-on-one so that you don't have, for lack of a better term, a whole bunch of cooks in the kitchen, and so that you don't have, you don't have someone from the outside trying to manage something that should be managed between two people. So two people should be able to manage their own challenges without dragging or bringing someone else from the outside in. Two mature adults should be able to manage their own challenges without triangling. And that's, it's just a little fancy way of saying bringing somebody in from the outside. So I'm curious as to how you navigate that and how do you bring it so that you can get back to that one-on-one relationship. Okay, they tried to bring in one of the pastoral staff or one of the higher ups in the music department, however the structure is. How do you bring it back to that one-on-one relationship?
Right. I think with the years that I've been doing it, I've seen a lot of different scenarios, and it always boils down to one of the specific scenarios that I've seen just in the business. I mean, if they're saying you've seen one, you've seen them all. So if you've seen one music director, you've seen them all. So what I try to do in just the years, I've just tried to put together a strategy to say, hey, listen, someone's going to have to be the adult. Once you recognize whatever the specific issue is, somebody has to be the adult in that situation. So for me, let's just say it's a sound issue. Yeah. They don't feel they're getting the appropriate sound from either their instrument or in their area. So then I break things down as small as possible to the foundation. Tell me what you feel you're not getting. Tell me what you used to get, and tell me what you feel you're not getting now. How did that specific, the way that it was done before, how did that affect your playing, or how did that affect your leadership, or how did that affect your directing? So once we kind of build some foundational principles, I can say, okay, he's used to this or he's used to this. Not saying that was correct or right. He was just used to that, because I may come in and just say, hey, the way that was done foundationally, it works, but it's not necessarily best practice. And I may come in with best practice, but foundationally, it may not work for the music director. So then once I get that knowledge, then I can just say, okay, all right, this is why I did it this way. And then I just start educating. This is why I did it this way. Maybe we can combine both ways, and let's just see how that can work out. Why don't you and I get together on an off day and come on in, and we can work on some solutions to make sure you're getting what you're getting.
I want y'all to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because at the end of the day, I'm there for a reason. I was hired for a reason. So they believe in what I can do. So I plan on being there for a while as a contractor. So let's find a way that we can work together so we don't have these issues.
One of the things, and I'm hoping that our viewers are picking up on this. I want to thank Crystal for tuning in this evening. One of the things, and I hope that our listeners and viewers are picking up on this, is that even when someone else is unable to manage whatever tension or anxiety may be in the relationship, and they choose to bring in someone from the outside, I want y'all to kind of pick up on what Mr. Mace was addressing here. Even when there now are three people actively involved in the situation, his communication continues with the person who had the initial issue, not the person who was brought in. And this is a very important point and very important part of de-triangling yourself. In other words, I'm gonna put it real clinical. You ready? This is very important to get out all the mess and to stop all the messiness. Is to say, I want as much as I can to remain in one-on-one relationship and communication with the person that I was initially dealing with, or the person that I'm in relationship with, not the person who they're bringing in, even though you may be in a relationship with the other person as well. But this is where it started, one-on-one right here. So we're going to stick it. What do you need? Now, the pastor or the music director, the top head honcho, whatever term you want to give them may be there. But I want you to pick up on what Mr. Mace said. I'm going back to the person and I'm going to communicate and interact with the person who had the initial challenge, because the reality of relationships is somebody, and I really appreciate him saying this as well, somebody has to be the adult. Someone has to step up and say, you know what? The issue's between the two of us. And so I'm going to try to come up with solutions, and I'm going to try to listen, and I'm going to do my part to ensure that the two of us come to resolution rather than letting this thing spiral. Because you can imagine that it can ultimately turn into, I go to this person, and then this person has to bring in that person. And before you know, it's a huge, big mess that gets blown. I know some things say, well, that can never happen at church, but yes, huge, big mess gets blown out when two people could have just resolved it one-on-one, which is the ultimate objective.
Absolutely.
Man, I'm so glad. I really enjoy each time that you come on the show. I get such good reviews from those who are watching and who listen to the podcast. If someone wanted to do an install, or if they need a video shoot or a photo shoot, or if they need someone to help a consult on their audio and video, how would they get in touch with you? That you gave us 2 ways. Tell us those 2 ways to get in touch with you.
Again, you can contact me directly via phone at 202-489-4961. 202-489-4961. Or you can go and contact me through Instagram at Moments by Mace. My company is Clear Choice Solutions Group. Everything is just kind of tied into Moments by Mace, because that's where I put a lot of my information and things that I've done on that page.
Well, wow. I hope that people will take advantage of your services. I really appreciate the way that you approach workplace relationships. I think there's a lot that we can learn, both as in our church relationships as well as in our work relationships. That is truly amazing. Thank you so much for coming on today. And I want to thank each of you for tuning in. Again, we'll be back here tomorrow as we talk about Manic Monday. But because we dealt with church and work today, we're going to go back talking to the Black family. And we're going to talk about how you build up the Black family, because we have to move beyond excuses and blame and start moving toward positive, powerful solutions that we must come up with. We have to be the savior that we've been looking for. We're going to start getting more into how we strengthen and build up the Black family. Until I see you tomorrow, may you have a good evening, and may you unbox all the power and the potential of every relationship you're in. Have a good night.
Seasoned with Grace, Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.